So good that you're here. Again, welcome to the Inspire Spiritual Community. We meet on the second and fourth Sundays of each month. So in March, we'll meet on the 12th and the 26th. Our theme for this month is Love is the Answer. And so our very own Reverend Candice G will be speaking on that theme. We also have our Reverend Hector Castrillon, who will give us a God shot before Reverend Candice speaks. But before we do any of that, let's take a moment and meditate. Let's get comfortable right where we are. So I invite you to become comfortable in your seat. Allow your body to feel supported by your seat. And go ahead and allow your outer eyes to close very gently. And when I close my outer eyes, I imagine that my heart can open even more. Imagine that for a moment. Imagine that you close your outer eyes and you open your heart even wider. And so for the next several moments, we're simply following the breath, inhaling deeply the love of God. Feel that. Exhaling completely into a feeling of gratitude. So we're inhaling love, exhaling gratitude, and imagining that our heart opens even more with each breath. Just imagine that. Feel that love. Feel that gratitude as we just relax and meditate for just a few moments. And if thoughts enter your awareness, you can simply imagine them floating by like a cloud. Imagine you can put a parenthesis around your thoughts and just let them float away ever so gently. Right now, the only thing we need to do is breathe. That's it. Inhaling deeply the love of God. Exhaling completely and feeling gratitude. And as we inhale love, as we exhale gratitude, we make it personal. In your own mind, thank yourself for showing up. I'm thankful that I showed up this morning. I am love. I am gratitude. I am love. I am gratitude. And as we inhale love, as we exhale gratitude, let's be aware of our own body temple. Imagine a warm embrace. Imagine that feeling. Just feel as if you're receiving a warm, loving embrace. Feel that. We can feel love because we choose to feel love. So again, if any thoughts enter your awareness, just gently allow them to float by, reminding each thought, love is the answer. Inhaling deeply, love is the answer. Exhaling completely. Love is the answer. Bringing your attention to your heart area again. Continuing to inhale deeply. Continuing to exhale completely. And again, imagining your heart opening even wider as I take this opportunity to speak a word of blessing for today's gathering. Mother, Father, God, infinite intelligence. I am thankful and grateful for this specific gathering. Thankful and grateful to know that God is all that there is. Thankful and grateful to know that all that there is God. The only power, the only presence, life itself. God is all that there is. And all that there is God, revealing and expressing itself unto itself. It does so as me. I know that I'm one with the one, created in the image and in the likeness and out of the very substance of God, for there's no other way to be created. If God is all there is and I exist, I must be created in the image and likeness and out of the very substance of God. And as I know this to be my truth, I know this very same truth for everyone present here. We show up individually and collectively as God itself, nothing less. So this meeting, this gathering is God meeting itself. We each get to show up being the love of God, the perfect givers and receivers of love. And so that beautiful, beautiful sunlight that we got to behold this morning after the rains, we are it. We are that bright. We are that light. And so we light up the world with the love that we are. And there's no way that we could be left in the darkness. So I name, claim, accept, and give thanks that this is a fantastic service, that this is a launching pad for our greatest yet to be. I'm thankful and grateful for our very own Reverend Candice G as she delivers a sermon that inspires us to be more of our authentic selves. Thankful and grateful for the words spoken and for the words that are left unspoken. For there's a vibration of God's goodness that is already present, calling us all to be our greatest yet to be. Answering this call is our very own Reverend Hector Castrillon. I'm thankful and grateful for the unique and specific way that he shows up, reminding us that God has it handled. So in the awareness that God's got it handled, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, and I know this is a good service. So in this now moment, I let go and I let God guide us and direct us from glory to greater glory. I'm thankful and I'm grateful, and so it is. Amen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Once again, thank you for showing up. Welcome to the Inspire Spiritual Community. We meet on the second and fourth Sundays of each month. Our website address is inspirespiritualcommunity.org. That is the place where you can see our archives, you can find out what's going on, and you can make a donation. So remember to bookmark inspirespiritualcommunity.org. That way, if you ever need a little boost of inspire, you know where to find us. And by all means, share us with your friends. Share us with your friends. Send them a link. Perhaps you might want to forward the email that you received with today's link. That's a great way to spread the word and continue doing your part, making this a world that works for everyone. Before I turn it over to our very own Reverend Tom for our namaste and our mission statement, let's just take a moment and bless each other. Rub your hands together. Leave yourself muted, but you can repeat after me as you raise your hands to your screen, just taking a look at every smiling face. Welcome to Inspire. I see you. I appreciate you. And I thank you for showing up. God shows up as you, and you show up as God. Welcome to Inspire. Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so now it's my pleasure to allow our very own Reverend Tom Hennessy to anchor us in Namaste, as well as our mission statement. Reverend Tom.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Eric. Let's just put our hands together on our heart. Close our eyes if that's comfortable. Put our hands to our lips, then to our forehead, back to our lips, and bow. Namaste. The God in me salutes the God in you. Okay, our mission statement. It's on the screen there. We can go. Okay. Inspire is a spiritual community of like-minded souls committed to walking our talk in joyous fellowship by demonstrating the power of love, compassion, and non-judgment every day in every way. Recognizing the divinity of all life, we stand united by actively liberating humanity by healing judgment, fear, and shame within ourselves. Our intention to create world peace, piece by piece. Woohoo! And now it's my good pleasure to welcome for our God shot, Reverend Hector Castrillon.
Namaste, everybody. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Amazing. Namaste is my favorite word, by the way. I love that word. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for the invitation. I want to start by saying that one of the things that I find very interesting about life is how you always get the assignment that you need and not the assignment that you want. And I say this because when the topic was given to me, I noticed that I had a reaction to it, right? It can sound a little hippy-dippy sometimes. Love is the answer. But also for those of us who have experienced abuse or neglect or bullying, sometimes it may not be the place that we go to. It doesn't feel like an attainable choice, right? So I realized that I had a reaction to this topic, and like I always do, when I have a reaction, I go into mindfulness. So I've been contemplating a lot about this topic, and I want to share with you what came to me. So the first thing is that the conversation makes more sense to me when instead of a statement, I make it a question. And the question is love the answer? And as I thought about that, for me, the answer was, it depends. It depends on what your end game is. So if your end game is peace of mind, then unequivocally, 100%, the answer is yes. But if your end game is to protect your individuality, to protect your ego, in many situations, love will not be the answer. As a matter of fact, it will be an obstruction to that game, right? One of my favorite mystics, his name is Richard Rohr, which I highly suggest that you read him. He says that love is the shape of the universe and the shape of life and the very nature of God, right? And I thought about that a lot. And then I read that when babies are born, if we don't give them affection, if we don't hug them, in many cases, they stop from growing. And in very rare situations, they can die. So what came to me is that we were all born with a need to receive love. And that is true for me, and that is true for you, and that is true for the people that I like, but it's also true for the people that I don't like. And that's part of the problem, right? That we are not willing to extend to others what we expect for ourselves. So I remember when I was growing up, I had a terrible relationship with God because I grew up in a Catholic church and I was taught that God was a punisher. And I was taught that because I was gay, I was going to go to hell. And I was taught that every time I did something wrong, then I was going to be punished, right? So no wonder my relationship with God was very rocky. And it wasn't until I followed my own spiritual journey where I learned what God truly is that I was able to heal that relationship. But the reason why I'm saying that is if we bring down the conversation to us, to you and me, right? And we ask ourselves, like, would you like a person that is always punishing you when you make a mistake? Would you like a person that is always criticizing you when you do something wrong, right? If that's the way of being in a relationship with someone, the answer is most likely you're not gonna like that person. If you're living with that person in relationship, it will for sure lead into conflict. If you have experienced trauma in your past, it will for sure bring back the trauma. And if you're in a social setting, you don't want to spend time with that person, right? Because psychological safety is a critical element for a healthy relationship, right? We can't cultivate healthy relationships without that. So as I thought about the conversation, what I realized is that if I need that from other people, including from God, then it follows that I have an obligation to extend it to other people. And from that point of view, love is the answer. If my goal is to cultivate healthy relationships, if my goal is to cultivate a peace of mind, if my goal is to walk life knowing that I don't have any debts, any emotional debts to anybody, we should expect it from others and we should demand it from ourselves, right? Now, there are times when we realize that we're not in a space to offer love anymore or to receive it. And in those situations, the loving thing to do is to walk away. Because when we're not able to give love, we're stuck, right? And when we're stuck, we don't live anymore in a safe universe. And that was the learning for me from my last relationship. I realized that as much as we're gonna be in each other's lives forever, our ability to give and receive love was no longer there. And we had a conversation about that, and we decided to each one of us continues their own journey, and we are best friends right now, and I love that. But if I didn't make that choice, it would probably lead to resentment. It will probably lead to our inability to be together as friends today. And he is one of my best friends today in life. So I love that. So this is a powerful topic, but the reminder to me here is that love is an action. Love is a verb, right? It requires mindfulness. It requires action. And A Course in Miracles says that love is the awareness of perfect oneness and is the only thing that is real. So without love, we can't practice forgiveness. It is a prerequisite. And I love that because it puts me in an obligation to be in action, to offering and extending love to everybody, those that we like and those that we don't like. So that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Reverend Hector. Everybody take a deep breath. Take that in. And it's my privilege and pleasure to introduce to you our very own Reverend Candice G, who will go and take us even deeper. Reverend Candice, so good to see you. Welcome.
Good morning. Wow, that was wonderful, Reverend Hector. Thank you for that. I know all of you got something out of that, didn't you? That was rich. Well, I want to first begin by just saying thank you to Reverend Amina and Garrick and the team for inviting me back one more time. I know I'm always home here. I love Inspire, love everything Inspire is about. And I'm just grateful to be able to show up another day. As I always say, we begin in gratitude, giving thanks that we woke up another day to be able to shine and radiate the love of God that we are. And I decided to wear red because we're still in that month of February. We're not finished yet. And I just wanted the red to be a reminder of not only God's love for us, but our love for one another and our love for ourselves. And, you know, I was thinking about this because we typically think of February as a month of love, and we think about all of the different things that go on. There's the Sweethearts Day on the 14th, or a day just to be able to celebrate the love that you have for people in your life. We celebrate National Heart Awareness Month. We celebrate Black History Month. We even celebrate Humpback Whale Awareness Month. There are many things that are going on in February, but it brings us to a heightened understanding that we have a place in this thing called life, and that love is our, as I call it, our armor. And it is the answer. It is the answer to every challenge and malady that befalls the human condition. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about that today, why it is the answer. And I loved what Reverend Hector said, because he is absolutely correct. It depends on what your end game is. But the end game that I want is to be able to bring that everywhere I go, everywhere I am, because I first brought it to myself, because I know in whose image and after whose likeness I am created. And this is the same for each one of us. So this is the invitation this morning. And I think that knowing that love is the answer, and knowing that we are spiritual beings created in the image and likeness of God, which is love, knowing that out of your intellect, but knowing it to the core of you, allows you to move through life with such a drive, I should say, an enthusiasm and a passion. And so it is the good news. And for those of you that may be struggling today with this, I hope that what I have to offer will bless you. You know, there's many definitions of the word. And so today I'm mostly going to focus on the higher nature of love, which is the agape love. It's the love that the spirit, that life that God has for its creation. And of course, we also know that there is, you know, different types of love. We hear of eros, which is more of an erotic, more of a physical sense love. We also know about familial love, which is that we hold for our family, our close friends, and people that are dear to us. And so these definitions are important to understand because as we move out in the world, we always have opportunities to practice this. You know, I think that what came to me when I was thinking about this topic is, what elixir are you drinking? Now, that's just what came to me. And, you know, if you look at the word elixir, and I want to use a specific definition of it, it says that it is a panacea, a cure-all, and a sovereign remedy. Okay. So what is it that we're sipping each day? When I say sipping, I mean taking into our consciousness. Where is our attention? What are we focusing on? Because there's so much out there to snag our attention on a day-to-day, moment-by-moment even basis sometimes, that we have to be able to pull back and stop and become still and examine what we are drinking. You know, is it something that is going to give us some sustenance, some hydration, or are we sipping on things that are not good for us? And, you know, I think through love's guiding principle, you know, we gain tremendous benefit. We gain benefit emotionally, mentally, psychologically, and most importantly, spiritually, when we are sipping on that which is going to nourish us, that which is going to sustain us, that which is going to provide strength for us as we move on in our journey. And so I want to ask everybody today, what are you drinking? What are you sipping on? What are you thinking? Where's your attention? Because we know as true students in our teaching, it requires some action. Love is a verb. That is absolutely 100% correct. Where are we placing our attention? And there's so many things going on right now. We all know that. We're bombarded constantly with all types of messages, and sometimes when we are sipping on something that is not necessarily good for us, if we don't step back and say, wait a minute, what is this that I'm sipping on? Because it might taste good, by the way. Could taste good, you see. And then what happens when it tastes good? Oh, we want a bigger drink of that. We want to have a big swallow of that. And the next thing you know, in consciousness, we're down, running over there into the weeds, so to speak. And so we really want to examine what it is we're sipping on, we're drinking, we're taking into our awareness, and how are we going to process that information, and how are we going to move out of that if it is something that we know we need to avoid. Okay, so that's important. What we put in is critical into what comes out as our life, right? If you eat junk food all the time, you're not going to get a whole lot of nourishment and a whole lot of vitamins. Okay, and so it is with the way that we think and what we take in and how we respond to it. And there's a lot going on in the world. You all know that. We've got all kinds of hate crimes happening. We have violence against the LGBTQ community. We have legislation that is trying to eradicate American history because it doesn't agree with some people's version of a sanitized version of it, right? We know what's going on. We know there's all manner of everything. And even last week, I was reading that the authorities were telling American people, Jewish people particularly, to be careful yesterday on the 25th, because the neo-Nazis were coming up with this thing called the National Day of Hate. Now, that is just the most, it's sad, really, because here is the thing. What do you have to be taking in and drinking and eating in your consciousness on a regular basis, right, that you want to go out and do that? But because I can tell you something, that is a whole bunch of empty calories. Now, yes, it can bring trouble and havoc and destruction, but it is empty. It will never fill you up. It will never sustain you. It will never allow you to heal and grow and develop and unfold. The only thing that will do that is love, because nothing can stand up to love. And when you have that, when you walk in that, when you wear that as your cloak, you can move out into the world and deal with these different types of situations. So I don't want to make light about any of the things that are going on in the world. We do need to respond sometimes. See, people misunderstand when you are loving and you are kind and you are compassionate and you are forgiving, people just think that you're some sort of milquetoast. But I'm here to tell you, your real power comes from God. Your real power comes from love. That's your real power. And all of the other stuff, no. It cannot hold up. It cannot stand up in the light of that truth, you see. And so we have to be aware of this. We have to know this for ourselves. I can't know it for you. I can only know it for me. But we get to be with it and allow it to be what it is in our life until we know that we know that we know that we know. And in this way, we are walking through the world with power, with an ability to connect with other people, with ability to understand things. And understand this, you don't let people off the hook, so to speak, for their behavior just because you won't give them back what they're giving you, you see. And if they throw darts and arrows and people do this and whatever situations that we find ourselves in, we get to we were already armed, we get to go out and move out with love and move out with some compassion. Because I will tell you, I think about this deeply on a regular basis. Where must people be in consciousness that they have gone off to this far off land and are now engaging in the lower vibrations of life, right? We know what those are: jealousy, envy, hatred, strife, greed, all of these things. Where must that soul have gone that they have forgotten who and whose they are, who and what they are? And of course, one of my first teachers always said to me, we only suffer when we forget who and what we are. Do you know who you are? You are created in the image and after the likeness of something so powerful that its sun, its light, its warmth will dissolve anything not like it when the conditions are right, you see. And so as we move along and we are growing in the spirit, we're growing in our own ability to have wisdom and discernment, and we're increasing our capacity to love. What we get to do when we go out in the world is we are ready, so that if some of these things befall us, we actually have something to offer. We have some kindness and some understanding. Again, we do not have to sign off on any of this bad behavior, nor should we. We have to do our part because we're active. But if you're going to give me, hey, I want to be able to give you love and mean it. And this is why I always say, and why I so love what our master teacher, one of our brilliant master teachers, Jesus the Christ, said, right? Pray for your enemies. Pray for your enemies. I pray for my enemies every day, and I mean it, because I want my own heart to be strengthened, to remain strong, and to be ready, willing, and able, you know, to offer something to those that don't know this, that just are wandering around out there blowing in the wind, hither and thither, listening to any old thing, getting sucked in and caught up by this, that, and the other. We as truth students must have a practice. We've got to practice, right? Any of you that play instruments, any of you that sing, any of you that write, any of you that go to the gym, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We have to practice. And so today we find ourselves in a time where there's a lot of opportunity to practice because we are being bombarded. But these energies have been going on from time immemorial. It is part of what we say is the human condition, because people just think they're singularly human. But if we knew who we are, if we understand that power, that wattage, that life, that presence is ours by divine birthright, we know that we have the ability to come over and overcome everything. And we can do it in love. We can do it with power. We can do it with brilliance, with kindness, with compassion, with all of the verities of the spirit that are ours, because we are here. We get to do that. We get to show up with that. We get to shine that and radiate that, and then watch what happens with people. So again, sometimes we have to pull our focus back. Oh, I see that. I'm aware of that. I know what's going on. And now how am I going to respond to it? In ourselves first and foremost, because we do occasionally, all of us, we go into the weeds, right? We go off into the weeds. We're going off somewhere in consciousness, but through our breath, through our practice, that's why we pray, we meditate, we study, we gather together like we are today. The reason we do these things is so we can celebrate our lives, so we can live our lives free. And that's what I want each of you to know today. So no one is saying it's easy, but it is absolutely possible. And that is the good news. Moreover, as you continue to practice this over and over and over again, you become stronger in yourself. Because whose child are you? When I leave this planet, I want to know that I know that I know, and I do know this, by the way. I'm telling you what I know, but I want to be the evidence that I demonstrated that I knew what love is as my life. I want to be clean before love because it is always being what it is. It never changes, it never contradicts its nature. It is what it is. And that's what we get to do. That's what we get to bring. And so even with distractions that are going on in the world, you know, there's plenty of support out there. And I always tell people, I'm the Bible loving lesbian. Okay. You know why I'm a Bible loving lesbian? Because so many have used this book to just batter people and beat people up. And so I'm here to offer the antidote to that. I'm here to stand up with it as a lesbian. So happy about that. To tell people what I know to be real and true. Okay. And so, you know, even in scripture, there's things that we are taught to avoid, and there's things we're taught to practice. Okay. In Proverbs, okay, Proverbs 15 verses 1 and 2, it says, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. The tongue of the wise makes knowledge acceptable, but the mouth of fools spout folly, you see. And we know the difference when we hear things that are not true, that are destructive. And so it's one thing to know that, but then another thing, how am I responding to it inside? Am I becoming triggered? Is my blood pressure being raised? Am I now holding my breath? These are physical reactions that happen to certain things that we think and that we take in without our taking the time to stop and take that deep breath and say, well, wait a minute now. What is the spiritual truth here? What is trying to happen here? What is it that I get to learn from this experience, you see? So we know, even through those scriptures, that there are some things to avoid. What's coming out of our mouth? These people that are out there lost and not practicing love are just out there regurgitating anything. There's no dominion. But we have mastery, authority, and dominion over ourselves, over our thoughts, over our actions, and over our reactions. Why? Because we are created in the image and likeness of God, and God is love. That's why. And so we always know that whatever the question is, yes, love is the answer. And so we see how these things are happening, you know. And this is the thing, there's no judgment after the fact when people are out doing things. You know, you must already be in hell, okay? You must already be tormented when you've left the bond of love, right, to go out. See, there's no outer punishment. I mean, there can be for some things, of course, some earthly things, but the real punishment or the real blessing is happening inside of us, okay? So when we are out there and we're acting out, we have no dominion, are not demonstrating that, we're in torment. And so, you know, people that are doing ugly things are in this tormented space. But our charge is to stay in a space of love, because guess what? That's expansion, that's pliability, okay? That's the ability to keep on going and have that pep in your step, regardless of what's happening. So it is a very important practice to be in. And so, you know, we know better as true students. You know, we want to put on that garment of love and wear it. And I often say it is the coat of many colors, the love that you are, the rainbow, the beautiful individual that you are, that no one has ever been created exactly like you are. You're unique and you are special, and you have a right and a reason to be here. And you came here with gifts, skills, talents, and capacities to offer humanity. So again, the focus has to come back to the self. What is it that I'm here to do? What is it that I'm here to learn? What is it that I'm supposed to say today and do today and be today? And we ask those questions and we certainly get the right answer. And here's the thing, if we find ourselves out in the weeds, we get to come back through our breath, through kindness for self, through compassion for self, through forgiveness for self. You know, even in scripture, when it talks about sin, we know that sin is an archery term. So even when we are, we've made a mistake, what happens? We become aware of the mistake. Oh, okay, I can do better than that. I want to be better than that. But we can do it gently, because that's all it is a mistake. It's and not only that, but it says this in 1 Peter 4 verses 8, above all, keep fervent in your love for one another, because love covers a multitude of sins, right? So if we know that sin means to miss the bullseye, it means we've made a mistake. So it's telling us that love is covering us, blanketing us, providing warmth for us, even when we are in error. And it's so much easier to realign ourselves when we are warm. Do you understand this? And I'm talking about the warmth we get from love's blanket, from love's cloak. And I'm talking about the warmth we get to give one another. That's why it's so important to have somebody that you can come to, that you can pray with, that you can say, hey, I'm having a moment here. Someone who can guide you, to lead you back, whoever that is, so that there's always a way back. So we pray, we meditate, we practice, we engage in spiritual study, we practice by showing up at service today. We just show up. And there's nothing heavy about this. We just get to do it. We all make mistakes, but love is always our compass. Love is our cloak. It is our calling card. It is the most important thing that we can be in. And so, you know, I just want to invite everyone today to have a conversation with yourself about increasing your capacity to love. Let's increase our capacity to love together. We want to pray for our enemies, you know. And again, those people that are walking around in the lower frequencies don't know who and whose they are, or who and what they are, but you do. You do. And that is the good news. So, not saying it's easy, but think about everybody from Jesus to Dr. King to everyone who has been out there, you know, doing this work, reminding us, telling us why love is the answer, and walking in it in the face of difficulty and challenge. You see, we have a lot of examples that have walked before us that we get to follow, in their example, you see, and we know the truth. I mean, people know the truth. When you live a life of love and you're living a life of community and you care for one another, we know the difference between that which does not serve us and that which does. We know the difference between the empty junk food calories of poor thinking versus the elixir of love that is always available to us. You see, I love the story also in the scriptures about the prodigal son who's out doing all manner of whatever, but when he comes home, he's welcomed by his father. His father doesn't judge him. His father doesn't condemn him. His father's like, welcome, here's a nice jacket for you. Here's a ring for you. Here's this and that. He's just welcome. And that's what love does for us. And it does it for us because it does it through us, you see. So that means that we have come into some understanding about its nature as our life first. And you see, sit with it, be with it, whatever allows you to feel your highest and your best. You know, when you're in your element and you got that pep in your step, sit with that feeling tone of love and how beautiful and wonderful you are. And what a blessing and a benefit this world is receiving because you are here. We are the answer. Love is the answer. And as we walk in this, we know that there is nothing to concern over. It's nothing There's nothing to worry about, because why? We have put on the full armor of God. We have put on the full armor of love. And I want to leave us with my favorite scripture, which is in 1 John 4, verse 7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. The one who does not love does not know God, for God is love. Now there's the reminder right there. We know who we are, we know what we are, and we're working with ourselves every day with patience, with kindness, with compassion, with forgiveness. We work with ourselves every single day. If we stub our toes, so to speak, spiritually, if we bump our knee, we pick up, we dust ourselves off, we put a little medication on our sore, and we keep on stepping. And we know that we have something to offer. And in that, you are more than a conqueror. You are here to be your fabulous, magnificent self. You are here to just be you, and it is more than enough. So the invitation is there. Be with this as your amazing, magnificent self, and go free today. Be free today. Do not commit aggressions or microaggressions against yourself. There's enough of that out there. Don't do that to yourself. Be kind to you. Get up there and go, Candice, go, Candice, go, Candice. Do that for yourself. Do whatever it takes to allow you to remember and to know who and whose you are. And in that, you let the God times roll and you live a life of love. That's what I got for you this morning. Thank you.
Oh, Reverend Candice, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So rich, so rich. What a great topic. Love is the answer. Let's take that in, be with it, Reverend Candice. I just love the way you break it down. Hector, I love the way you broke it down, and now we get to be more love. We get to feel more love. We get to experience and express more love. So rich, so deep, so clear. And we have a couple moments if anybody wants to go a little bit deeper, or perhaps there's something specific. We have a couple minutes for questions and answers. So if you'd like to just go a little bit deeper, or perhaps share with Reverend Candice, or perhaps even with Reverend Hector, something going on in your life that you might want a little bit of coaching or assistance in seeing rightly, now would be the time. So again, at the bottom of your screen, you have a button that says reactions, and then you can press raise hand if you'd like to go a little bit deeper with something specific going on in your life regarding this topic. Love is the answer. We've got excellence here. We've got Reverend Candice, we've got Reverend Hector. So this is a great time. If you have a question, want to go a little bit deeper, go ahead and hit that raise hand button. Again, I want to recognize that we are a global community. Want to say hello to South Africa. I want to say hello to Poland out there. Thank you for tuning in. I love that, through this technology, we get to spread the love across the globe. So thank you for showing up. I know we represent many states here in the United States. I'm not even going to try to name those, but I'm really glad that everyone chose to show up and to come to service. Yeah, the world is made a better place because we've all committed to love. So again, thank you for making that choice, and thank you for making the choice to show up for this service at the Inspire Spiritual Community. And at this time, I want to invite you to consider a donation to Inspire. You can donate money, you can donate time. You can go to our website, inspirespiritualcommunity.org/donate, and you can donate there. Or if that's a lot of technology, after the service is over, go back to your email and you see that email from Inspire that has the link to this service, well, if you scroll down a little bit, there is a donation button. You can click there and donate your, it's your contributions that have allowed us to grow as a global community. So thank you for supporting Inspire, whichever way it works for you. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for being love on the planet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Once again, a reminder, next month, March, we will meet on March 12th and 26th. The dates for March and April are always the for February and March are the same. So 12th and 26th again, always a great service. What makes it great is you. And again, after we leave this service, we get to take this light that we are out on the planet so that we can do our part to create a world that works for everyone. Reverend Candice, you were so clear that I don't see any questions. Reverend Hector, you were so clear that I don't see any questions. So I think now would be a great time to just anchor us in prayer so that we can just go out and continue being the light upon the planet. So with that being said, I'm going to invite Reverend Candice to give us our benediction and our closing prayer.
And so we've all heard the message today that love is the answer. We have all heard that we are created in the image and likeness of love itself. And I'm so grateful to bless each person here as we leave this service today, remembering to remember who and whose we are, that we are the thing itself in expression. We are love incarnate, and we get to be, do, and have all that the Spirit intends for us, which is good and only good. More joy, more peace, more prosperity, more wholeness, more compassion, more forgiveness, more. This is what love offers us, and we say yes to it. And so I bless each person here as they go about their day today, remembering that each of us are created in the image and after the likeness of love itself, and that we wear that armor in such a beautiful way. We wear this cloak of many colors, rainbow colored, as each one of our precious, unique self. For this word, I am deeply grateful and thankful as I release this word, giving thanks for all that is real and is true. We say thank you, love, thank you, life. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you so much, Reverend Candice. Thank you, everyone, for showing up today. Thank you for choosing love, knowing that love is the answer. Continue being a blessing. And again, remember, our services are archived both on YouTube. You can search for Inspire Spiritual Community, or you can go to our website if you would like an extra dose of Inspire, or if you want to share Inspire with a friend who wasn't able to show up at today's service. The world needs you to show up as your authentic, loving self. So let's do it. Thank you, everyone. Have a gorgeous day. I'll do the same. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey. So good seeing everyone. Glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Hey, I see you. I see you. Yay. Yes.